Hello guys, once again welcome to Team Dragon Lords. This is Robbie here. Since you already saw my brother's deck, now it is time for mine. But of course, as you guys already know, we have built ours completely different. There will be cards in here in my deck that will be similar, but there will also be quite a few differences as well. And I do mean differences. So let's go ahead and get into the deck build. So first off, we will be going into everything in, well, chronological order, of course. Gotta play fair, gotta play the favorites, gotta make sure everybody gets their fair chance to rise to rise to the occasion. So of course, for my deck, I of course will also be starting off with 3 copies of the newest ace monster in the hole, 3 copies of the Sacred Fire King Garunix. I will say, quite the amazing build, to say the least, because, I mean, with this monster, you'll be able to really... So as soon as you lose one of your monsters, either by battle or by card effect, you'll be able to special summon this monster from your graveyard. Let's say you have like all 3 of them in your graveyard, you'll be able to bring them back out however many times you want. And I mean, this is literally the one monster that's going to be hard to beat for a lot of people out there. But another pretty cool thing is that you can also wipe out one of your own Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, or Winged Beast monsters from your hand and or face up on the field. And if you do, this card will gain attack points equal to that monster's attack points, which is sick. Next up, I will also be running 3 copies of our good old friend Kieran here. Just look at how amazing the card is looking. I mean, it is amazing. Of course, during your main phase, since he's going to be in your hand, you can, by just wiping out another fire monster from either your hand or on the field, you'll be able to summon this guy from your hand to the field, which will be very awesome. And then you'll be able to special summon yet another Fire King monster as soon as this guy goes into the graveyard. Just amazing play. Next up, I will also be running 3 copies of our next monster, the legendary Fire King Ponix. He will be very, very instrumental in bringing out some of your big-time plays from the deck, like, say, your Kieran or your Garunix, or you can also go into any of your Link plays when it comes to this guy. And, I mean, he's just a little guy, but this little guy can do a lot of damage, and he can help you out in getting whatever you want out of it. Next up on the mat, I will also be running the Arvada. He will be very, very instrumental in making a lot of your plays, whether it is for Xyz play or for Link plays, or for whatever else you might be running to use him for. But as soon as a monster effect is activated, you can negate it. Then you can destroy one other monster on your field from either your hand or your field. But as soon as this guy goes to the graveyard, you can special summon. You'll be able to special summon any of your Fire Beast, Beast Warrior, and or Winged Beast monsters directly onto the field. Next, I will also be running 2 copies of good old Barong. His ability will also be quite sweet. He can also be used for your Xyz plays and all that good stuff. And I mean, just picturing, although whenever you look at this guy, he kind of looks like something else from another anime, but he is so awesome. He'll be able to help you out in whatever way possible. Next, I will also be running 1 copy of Rangbali, Garunix, but also, since you guys have already seen my original Infernal Flame Emperor, I decided to also run a copy of Infernal Flame Emperor in the deck. Because you'd have to be able to sacrifice him in order to bring him out, and then You can banish up to 5 fire monsters from your grave from play in order to wipe out as many of your spells and traps as you want. And I mean, that could definitely devastate your opponent's back row and all that good stuff. And I mean, it will devastate. That just makes it 10 times harder. Next and last, I'm also running the 1 copy of the Blaster Dragon, kind of like with my partner. Of course, he's going to be very, very useful. Not too much to really talk about with this guy, but he's going to be very, very useful when it comes to all sorts of plays as well. And also, lastly, for the monsters, 3 copies of the Droll and Lockbird. Our newest hand trap, but of course this girl's also been around for a very long time, kind of like Ash Blossom and some of the other hand traps out there. And of course, like I said, she can be useful for link plays and whatever else you might have. And no, if you guys can actually see my brother right now, he brought down a blanket with snowflakes.
Because it's Christmas and I am cold.
I know, bud.
This thing is fluffy. I mean fluffy.
It is indeed fluffy.
So,
and now for the spells.
Quick view. Really fluffy.
Wait, did I accidentally? Oh, that's hilarious. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. Yep, I made a bit of a boo-boo. Uh-oh. I know what to do.
Let me guess, you took out 1 quick play spell?
I had 2 copies of this card in the deck. I only needed the 1. Oopsie. Okay, for the spells, I'll be running 1 copy of the Circle of the Fire Kings, which will be very, very useful because you can target 1 your monster on your field and 1 fire monster in your graveyard. You destroy the monster that you control, and if you do, you can special summon that other monster. Simple set match.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Depending on the squeezy.
That's what she said.
Oh, good lord.
That's what she said.
Next, I'm also running 1 copy of the Fire King Skyburn, which will be very, very handy because then you can bring out however many Fire King monsters. Well, or should I say, you can target as however many Fire Kings that you have out on the field, and then you can wipe out however many cards your opponent has, depending on the number, and you can just wipe them out. Simple. It'll also get rid of their front row, and unless they got any kind of back row, you'll probably have to worry about that, but other than that, that's not too bad at all. Next, I'll also be running 2 copies of the new field spell Fire King Island, and I mean, this card is going to be key to winning whatever match you might be in, also kind of depending on what kind of deck your opponent could be running. But this card is going to be beneficial to whatever situation you might have. I'm also running 3 copies of the Fire King Sanctuary, which is basically the one way to where you can get your Fire King Island from your deck to the field.
Oh yeah.
Very handy.
And seeing this type of deck build from my brother, he can pull off some scary ass combos.
I have a feeling.
Like his opponent will jaw drop.
Next, I'm also running 3 copies of the Dark Hole, a classic spell card from all the way back since the very beginning of the game's existence. We all know what it does. It just instantaneously wipes out everything off the field.
I first seen that spell, Dark Hole, again when Bandit Keith was under the control of Merrick.
Oh, yeah.
Facing against Yugi.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, I kind of felt bad for Bandit Keith, though, if you think about it.
Not me. Nope, I didn't. He got what he deserved.
I know, bud. Believe me, I do. Next, I'm also running 1 copy of Fire Formation Tinky and 1 copy of the Onslaught of the Fire Kings. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Although, if you take a look at this Phoenix here, it kind of looks like Raw.
Which reminds me, I am going to be making a deck of Winged Dragon of Raw.
You heard it here. people. It's a sneak peek.
It's gonna be freaking mean.
What are you gonna be doing? Doing like a complete blazing chicken?
Yep. 3 different versions of Raw. The original form, the spear, the phoenix, and the monsters needed for it, as well as the spells and traps, and the extra deck.
Yikes. Okay. You guys heard it here, folks. Yikes.
Because seeing that type of deck build and seeing it destroying someone within only a few turns, yeah. You want to
Mic drop.
You want to go the other way.
Yeah, and run for cover. Except for Joey. I felt bad for him. He couldn't even run for cover. Not even Mai. Or for the Pharaoh, for that matter. Alright, and as for the traps, I'm running one copy of Tribute, Solemn Judgment, and Salon of the Fire Kings. Of course, we already know how Torrential Tribute works. It just as soon as a monster is summoned, it wipes out everything. Solemn Judgment, as soon as a monster is summoned and or a spell or trap is activated, you just pay half your life points and you can just negate it and destroy it. And then as for Salon of the Fire Kings, you can special summon 3 fire monsters from your hand. Well, from your hand, deck, and graveyard. But unfortunately, their effects are negated. That's the only real flaw about it, but at least you'll get some more monsters. That way you'll be able to bring out like your Xyz plays or your Link plays or whatever special combos you might have. And lastly, for the traps, I'm also running 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. The perfect hand trap.
Oh, yes.
For just about any situation. Depending on what it is. And now on to the extra deck. Of course, I'll also be running 3 copies of the Garunix Xyz monster. Just looking at how beautiful this card is. I mean, the art is just phenomenal. I have a feeling this monster is gonna take apart whatever comes its way. Like, no matter what, it's just gonna make everybody feel sick. Also, 3 copies of the Giant Trainer. This monster will also be good for when it comes to, your best bet is that, of course, you'll also be getting out like your main boss monster from the deck. So the extra deck might not get used very, very much, except for when you get to summon him out. But you'll have all these extra options just in case the big option can't be used. Also, 3 copies of Dire Wolf. That'll be very, very good, just in case you can't get out your bigger plays. He'll be another secondary option.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then, of course, for the Link plays, Hida. Very simple. She's treated as a familiar possessed. I can say I have the familiar possessed Hida, Arya, and Wynn monsters. That's kind of cool. And that, my friends, is actually my Fire King deck profile. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this deck. So, of course, you can give this a video a like, subscribe. It helps us out. It helps this channel out. It'll get us to make more content in the future. But if you guys really, really want to see something completely dope, this is the original Fire deck that I've had for a very long time.
Since our days in high school. That's the least I can remember.
Yeah, this deck has been through the ringer. Except for like a few cards that got added in in the later years.
I think I lost to that deck once.
I think you did.
Yeah, I remember.
I can remember when I first kicked your butt with my XYZ Dragon Cannon with the Power Bond combo.
That was funny.
But yeah, guys, whatever likes and subscribes that you can do will help this channel out, make us a little bit more popular. It also gets us to a few extra perks. I don't know what those extra perks would be.
Oh. Now that we have the Fire Kings, we should use that against the ice barriers. Fire versus water.
Ooh, that would be a good one. All right, guys, I hope that you all have enjoyed my deck profile, and we will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.